All right, nightlife. You know what it is. Vybe Night with We-On-Loc, of course. We're just here entertaining. It's going to be an open mic night for anybody who wants to come on board, but we'll just give a few minutes for some people to come in. I saw some people earlier. Silica One, what's good with you? What is good with you? Yes, this is basically an open mic night. And we're just going to be doing just random shit from the dome. This is pretty much getting away from all the bullshit that's been happening for the last couple of months. I mean, some real retarded shit. You know what I mean? From all the manosphere talk to all the great talk to all the. It's just nonsense. And then, of course, dealing with the fact that I have enemies that just straight up don't like me. As if I give a fuck. But like I said, open mic night. We're gonna get it going by doing a couple of live, and it's pretty much I'm gonna try to do an all-nighter. I'm gonna try to do an all-nighter for this one. And then afterwards, we're just gonna shut it down for the night. We're gonna shut it down for the week because I believe tomorrow is Memorial Day. So I know y'all cynical motherfuckers gonna start barbecuing and shit. So we're gonna have some family members. It's just time. It's time for me to spend time with the fam. I just rather spend time with the fam than be over here and to have a knucklehead that don't know me just talking shit all day. I got better things to do. But for certain individuals, this one's basically for y'all because I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to basically try to go live and just try to do your thing. I am fine. I am okay. I am really okay. It's just, 1 minute you're minding your own business, right? You're just minding your own business, and then some random chick says your name in something that you don't want to, in a business that you don't want to be in. And so you end up cussing her out, and then the next thing you know, your name rings up again. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I also want to give a shout out to April. I want to give a shout out to April Carter. She is amazing. Also giving a shout out to Lisa Carter. Lisa Carter, I don't think she's dealing with a whole bunch of issues. We talk behind the scenes, but she's dealing with a whole bunch of issues. I wish her nothing but the best. As a matter of fact, she needs her rest. But till then, we're going to do some live reactionary videos and have some people come in the building. But I do appreciate each and every single one of you. Y'all have been amazing. All my supporters I support, and definitely you. I support Brownie. I support everybody. I support B. Durrell. I support all those people who have pretty much had my back since day one. You know what I'm saying? But let's see what we can get into. Let's do some very light work, shall we? Marriage. Oh, which one is this one? Oh, duh. Okay.
Where we don't.
No. Oh. I want to save that for last. Hold on. Give me a second. I want to save that shit for last. Oh, like I said, it's an open mic night, so any and everybody can come up and shoot the shit. Oh, but before then, I got a couple of rules. Number one, let me turn this shit down. Number one, no bullshit. I know who you are. I know you're watching in the clouds. Any fucked up shit going on, you're banned. It's as simple as that. Number two, if we have a multitude of people, I mean, we can agree to disagree, but let's not fight. Let's not fight. Let's just have the conversation. Let's just have a conversation. Number three, have fun. Just have fun. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me go and find this crap, man. It's this video. I really would want you to see where I'm coming from. Let's see here. Oh, right here.
Hello, welcome to Marriage Be Hard Conversations. I am Melissa.
I'm Kevin Fredericks.
And we are here talking about the conversations surrounding marriage. Because the reality is oftentimes, marriage be hard.
Yes.
We're going through a series talking to some of our most inspirational, aspirational, favorite couples. And we're just talking about love, marriage, communication, into all the things, child, all of the things. So today we have one of our favorite couples with us, the Brown family.
Yes.
Hello there. Hello. And I will let Kevin introduce them.
Tabitha Brown, author, host, superstar, target, dog mom, athlete.
Very
Chance
good,
Brown, husband, father, coach, athlete. Certain people have been responded to. We ain't got to go down there. I'm just saying, people know who y'all are. My first question is, what is a misconception about your marriage that you think a lot of people may have or may have assumed, or comments you may have seen that is not true?
Ooh, I think that is perfect, right? That like, oh, they be like, ooh, marriage goals or couples goals. I'm like, you sure? you know, can you imagine being, 24 years old, right? All the things you go through in your life of 24 years.
Yeah.
We've been doing that together for 24 years. So it has not been easy. It has definitely been hard. Amazing times.
Yeah.
But it is not perfect. And it's, we not always happy.
Really? Y'all just post the videos when y'all be happy. When you ain't happy, the video don't go up.
Listen, when people be saying I'm not an athlete.
Real quick, for those niglets in the Matt Deuce sphere that always have a rejected spirit about women, I just want to say, put yourself in their position and see how easy it is to be in a marriage. Just see how easy it is to go around and have your biggest fantasies just go down the drain because you're expecting to be King Tut or some shit. It don't work that way. A marriage is work. Trust me, I know. I've been in this for a long time. And whoo! Sometimes the benefits is amazing. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes the benefits are amazing. Sometimes it's just like, oh, nigga, suck on this lollipop. But no, people who really want to actually get married, and I tell them all the time, is like, look, how long have you been together? First of all, what kind of particular conversations have you had? What goals do you want to reach? What goals do you want to set for yourself? That's what I usually tell them. And I usually point them out to a certain counselor or pastor or whatever. But let's continue.
Don't let that go, man.
We ain't gonna talk about it.
I actually really love this answer. I think one of the hardest things being a public figure on any platform, but social media, is that it really is a highlight reel. It really is an opportunity to show the beautiful things about marriage. But I think sometimes people forget that just because that's what we're showing on social media, it's very curated. That doesn't mean it's not without the hard time.
Right.
And I think it's important to present that balance. Sometimes I think even with our title, Marriage Be Hard, sometimes, people get, may feel a certain way because you're like, why y'all saying marriage be hard? It's giving marriage a bad rap. But it's like, but if you've been married,
marriage do be hard.
Then you do understand
That's right.
that the reality is sometimes on occasion, plus also maybe a little bit, it be hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's true of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Working out and jobs, parenting, like all the things that mean a lot to you are hard. It's just people think when we say that, like, oh, I'm not gonna get married because it's hard. Like, being single be hard too.
Listen,
You know what I mean?
Life be
Whatever.
hard.
Life, just waking
Life,
up. They
period.
want that rent on the first, no matter what your month was
Two
like.
things. I got to make sure that I get this one out, though. I think it's important that we do what you're saying, that we edit it.
Mhm.
I feel like we have a responsibility to make marriage look as best as we possibly can.
Tell me more about this.
Because in all of the hard, right, I still, feel like the pros definitely outweigh the cons.
Come on.
The blessings definitely outweigh, the downfalls. I can't imagine where I would be if I wasn't married.
Yeah.
It gave me structure. But I got off track. I wanted to go to this first one.
No. Wait, let's talk about this a little bit more.
Okay.
I think this is a beautiful point as well, because you can have both and.
Yeah.
You can have and celebrate marriage the way that our platform does, the way that your platform does, and still acknowledge the hard times without it being a deterrent from the institution of marriage.
Right.
And I think a lot of times what people expect or what people think is it has to be all roses, all
All
butterflies,
bliss.
Yeah.
all bliss, all rainbows, or it can't be love.
Right.
And the reality is going through those hard times, sharing your vulnerabilities, being angry sometimes, and then working through those are opportunities to become much closer. When I think about the year, I'm gonna let you answer our question, but when I think about the year 2020, I don't know how it was for y'all, but child, it was quite literally the most transformative year. I was just talking to somebody about this last night. Quarantine was hard. Okay. Quarantine was hard. Quarantine was hard. But when I think about where we are 2 years later, I'm grateful that that year happened. During the time, I wasn't grateful. This is a hindsight looking back that allows me to be grateful for the conversations, that allowed me to be grateful for the rug being pulled from under us and us checking up under the mattress and seeing what was on under there and sorting through it and organizing and coming out on the other side with a stronger foundation in our marriage, even after 16 years at that point.
Yeah. I think we might be one of the only couples that we got closer during quarantine. It was the best time for us.
Tell me why.
It was, I think we had spent so much time apart, right? I was traveling a lot. He was working, 10, 12 hours some days. And we would only see each other for a little bit of time in the evenings, right? And weekends. And then we were like forced to be able to be there every day with each other.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
Oh, I love this.
Right? I realized I was like, dang, I miss my best friend. Right? I miss
Best friend, lover, supporter. everything that you need in a marriage. You're going to go through a series of shit. You're going to go through the good times, the bad times, the worst of times. It's called that when you go through the worst of times, what they would call the testament. You will go through a test, a series of tests that certain people pass and certain people don't pass. But it is up to the couples to fend for themselves, because this you only got one life to live. And apparently, I mean, I gotta, you know what? I gotta play a Brownsville joint because I feel like a Brownsville spirit. Shouts out to Brownsville. Shouts out to Sharon. Definitely shouts out to Sharon. I gotta get Sharon up here.
It's being able to like wake up with him, because that was something else. We didn't get to wake up together for a very long time because Chance would always be gone at like 5 a.m. to go to work.
Yeah.
I'd be asleep, you know, until like 7 to take the kids to school type of thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, dang, we get to wake up and look at each other more than Saturday and Sunday.
Right,
Like
right.
it was it was like, it was new. It was almost like, you know, with the exception of our kids, I love them. It was almost like back in the day when it just used to be me and him waking up in the morning together.
Yeah.
Back, you know, when we had our little one bedroom.
Right, right.
Hey, I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I was too afraid of dying,
And that too.
and because I was like, yo, we living in our last. I'm being completely. Hey, listen, I won't be with you. I don't want to be with these other people.
We ain't let nobody come in the house.
So whatever I would get irritated about. I'd be like, man, this might.
It ain't worth it. It ain't even worth
We
it.
literally might be dead.
That perspective.
I was
will
that
in the
I
focus.
was that kind of afraid. Like I was really like one of those people
Yeah.
that was like, no.
Yeah, in the beginning, the first like 6
So-
months, he was very afraid.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, happy to be in the house.
Every day you
Like,
woke
with
up
my
alive,
wife,
you was
like,
like,
hey.
woo, he's still
I
alive.
left that jar out. I'm sorry. I know you hate when I do that.
I love this so much.
And
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
if I cleared my throat, he's like,
What's wrong? What's going on?
Yo.
Do you need a
that'd be
quarantine?
about the only time he was backing up.
So
He's like, you
What's
good,
happening?
babe? What's going on? Why
Where's
you
your mask?
did a little
When I
something
heard
with your
about
throat?
people divorcing and all of that stuff, doing all of that, I mean, I understood it, but it kind of made me think like, oh, they must have been afraid like me. They didn't mean it when they said, listen, if I'm gonna spend my last days on this earth with somebody, I want it to be you. Like I want to be. So perspective.
Aww. Have you ever been in trouble with COVID? It sucks. I was locked in my bedroom for 2 to 3 weeks, and I didn't even know I had it. But what does the wifey do? Wifey makes the soup. She makes all the breakfast food, makes all the dinner food. And had it sitting there waiting on me. I opened up the door, grab it. I had my PlayStation, playing with my PlayStation, and it was all good. But the one caveat about it is it sucks because you don't get to see your kids. And I love my kids. I love my kids dearly. All you want to do is touch them, hold them, love them, right? But you couldn't do it in a locked room because you don't want to get them. You don't want to get them hurt. You don't want to get them. You don't want them touching you with that virus on you. So everything after the 2-3 weeks, everything was medically cleared. Of course, had to get rid of some things, but ultimately that love and that cherish, that commitment, I would do the same for her. I would do the same for my kids. You know what I mean? I wish the manosphere would get a full dosage of this. I wish people in Sharon's live would get a full dosage of this, but this don't get traction. this gonna get the type of traction. The type of traction that gets the 400 to 500 views. Well, let me be real. If you can reach 100, that means you have reached an audience that is so used to chaos. So used to chaos that, you know, they want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of chaos. They don't want to be a part of truth. They don't want to be a part of what works. If this works for you, it works for you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like, hey, man, like, this ain't no big deal. None of this stuff is a big deal. Like,
Right.
hey, you need a break?
Like I said, this is an open mic night. Anybody is welcome. Just behave, y'all.
I'm gonna go stand in the front yard for a while.
We went
we
running
can't go
together.
nowhere. Like,
Yeah,
we
the
go.
front yard.
Hey, we will hop in the car, like literally.
Take a little ride.
I'd be like, I don't know where we're going, but get in the car. We're going on a car date.
Wow.
Drive somewhere.
I love
and
this
come
so
back.
much.
Like, I mean, that was just my thinking, and I had never had the luxury of doing that before. Like,
Yeah.
like simple. I would always. Most of our arguments and stuff though came from
Stress.
us not being able to spend enough time together, or
Prior to the pandemic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, you know, it's like I'm real sensitive about stuff. Like, nah, I want your undivided attention.
Chance that
all
dad
of
to
it.
get jealous of the kids. Like,
Like,
man,
yo,
yeah,
hey, look,
kids getting in the way of
I
my
don't want you,
time.
man.
Wait, can I
wanna
share
get
this
these kids
story?
up outta here.
I don't know that you said it on the podcast or if you said it behind the scenes. If we want me to edit out, we can. I won't say the names, but I remember Chance told the story, and it's actually something that sticks with me. That you were at a celebrity's house doing whatever y'all was doing on a however often basis, and you and Tab had a show you would watch. And you had to, thank you. And the celebrity was asking you to stay over, chill, do whatever. And you was like, nah, I got to go back.
It's Sunday.
It's Sunday. I got to go back to my wife. This is our thing. We have to go back in. Like, I have to go. Not that you have to, like, you're afraid or it's a checklist, something you have to do. It's, I want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to spend this time with my wife watching this show, Mr. Celebrity. You're actually not that important to me. And I don't know that most people would have that perspective, but I think it is talking about, or I'm sorry, I think it speaks to kind of what you're getting at now. If you feel like your spouse is your best friend, those type of things are really easy decisions to make.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Very.
still got into it. You know, it'd be things that happened while we was quarantining, but not to the point of where it was like, man.
Shout out to Sushi. Sushi. Oh, what's up? What is up? Blessings to you. Blessings to you, fam.
You know, I hope we make it out of this. Right. You know, I was more so like, hey, look, hey, we making it out of here.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
gonna make it because I'm gonna keep you locked up in this house and all these people with this COVID outside of the house, and hey, but we making it up out of this.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of people discovered during quarantine that they didn't know their spouse.
Come on and
Mhm.
say the things.
I am great. I am great. This is just a open mic night situation. Like I said, if anybody would like to come up and have a discussion, they can. It's just that we want to have good vibes tonight. It's just all about good vibes tonight. No fireworks, no mess, just nothing but good vibes.
Because like I said, we only had a couple hours a day with each other,
Mhm.
right? And most, that was at night. And I like that part a lot. Okay. That's my business. Okay. But other than that, most people didn't have, a lot of time together.
Yeah.
So then when they're forced to be in this space together, and we're talking about like people who say they just got married or they've been married for like 2 or 3 years, but they both have been working like 8 to 5s or 9 to 5s, or they go to bed at 9 o'clock, and you got just dinner and
like
you
a
got
little
time, a
bit.
little bit of time,
Dinner and a little bit.
and
is all
it's
you
routine
have.
again, and then the weekend, it's fun.
Yeah.
But if you force 24 hours,
Mhm.
that's when you get to know somebody,
100%.
Yeah.
and then you realize, I don't know if I even like you that
Come on
much.
and say the things.
And so I think that's why a lot of couples had strained during quarantine and did not make it.
Yes.
Because they were discovering like, oh, I don't even know who you are.
I don't even know you.
Right? And so during that time, it was like, dang, I know this man.
Yeah.
Right? I know what I like. I know what I don't like, and vice versa. Like, I know, honey, I know how to get on his nerves.
Transparency. I love it. I love transparency. I love what me and my wife, what we like to do is we like to watch Marvel movies, right? Her favorite one is obviously Spider-Man. Don't ask me why. Mine is Batman. Batman, Wolverine, Gambit, all of them, right? But she does not like rated R. So what she does is she finds someone who's an editor, right? And she would edit the movie. And we were watching what was it? Endgame. We were watching Avengers Endgame. And that fucker was edited. I mean, no cuss words. If there was a little drop of blood, then take it out. And she enjoyed herself. I ain't say anything. Because a little while longer, I already had the video. She pretty much watched it with her church, right? And she just she had her friend edit the hell out that movie. So what I did, I went home and watched the regular version. But the fact of the matter is, you want to spend some time with your friend, no matter what the circumstance is. It's something that if there's something that you don't like, tell her. Because obviously she's going to tell you some things that you are not going to like sometimes. It's just what it is. But you don't have to take it all the time either.
I know I can work his nerve, but because I know that, let me work on that part of me since we got to be here in this space together, right? But everybody didn't have that luxury.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Say your thought. Oh, yep.
Yeah, I have to get this part out. Everybody got theirs. I got it. What I hate.
Here we go. Yes.
Is when people think that they're going to get the male version of Tab. See me?
Boy,
that's
they don't.
That's misconception.
They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
But it has been very clear.
They don't know.
This is all in Chance's head.
No.
Everybody knows they're not going to get the male version of Tab. People be like, from the very beginning of watching, Chance, and when I first started doing videos, you never saw Chance. You only heard his voice. And you would hear his voice say, man, why don't people looking in our house? Got them people looking in our house and our kitchen and stuff, man. I just got off work. And you got these people. I won't making no money. He was like, we go again. And I was like, man, the Lord has told me to do this and I got to be obedient. Right. Yeah, well, he didn't tell me that you're going to have so by the time they saw him.
Yeah, I ain't hear nothing.
Hey, listen. By the time they saw him.
You should have told both of us.
He done told me, though, since
when they see Chance always, it's very stern in his face, right? He got his, people like that resting thing.
Yeah.
And so people like, man, he unhappy. They used to, they would be like, man, her husband,
walk around
her husband
like
is unhappy. I'm like, y'all don't even know this man, right? And so as time slowly, went on, he would kind of get in the videos. I think probably when the first check came. He was like, wait a minute. So
that's why the people looking at our house.
It was like this. Hey, how y'all doing? It was a little bit by a little bit. And then when the Fridays with Tab and Chance thing, that was an organic thing that just happened. We didn't plan that. It was just one day where people were like, how did y'all get together? I was like, we should do a video to tell people how we, our story. And then it was a Friday, and I was like, let's do it again. And I think somebody else even said, oh, I like the Fridays with Tab and Chance. I was like,
bingo.
Oh, you didn't even name it?
No, it just, I named it after that. Choice made the song.
Really?
Wow. Literally on camera. Yeah. Choice just wrote it and everything. But even then people would be like, her husband seems so unhappy. I'm like, y'all know what my husband does for a living? He has a very stressful job.
Right.
He also is not me.
Right.
We are opposites, which balances us out.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I'm a big personality. Yeah. I'm loud. I love, and I laugh a lot. Chance, once he get to know you, he don't trust nobody.
Yeah.
Chance don't trust Nobody.
And that is how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be the opposite to her. If y'all do the same things, listen to the same things, watch the same things, do the same work, y'all gonna be bored. Y'all gonna be freaking bored. So there's have to be some balance there. And the other thing that they mentioned, I have a third eye. Once you enter into my life, and you enter into my wife's life, I'm looking at you with the third eye. And if I don't like you, I'm treating you like Al Bundy. Marinate.
Barely trust our kids. Okay, like I ain't known them that long.
I trust them to be who they are.
Oh man,
so it takes a lot for him to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm his best friend, so I'm the person he trusts to be safe in front of the
Right.
with. So,
Right.
yeah.
Which I you know what, in getting to know you two. This is why I like y'all so much, because Melissa is me.
Oh
Shona.
man, we was
As
telling
you were
y'all
talking
that.
about that,
Yeah.
I remember when Kev first started videos. I wasn't in the videos.
Mm-mm.
He'd have to sneak to get me and delete that.
Man,
Yeah.
she was feeling
Yeah.
the
I
same.
didn't sign no
Yeah.
release.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
And people don't
know
allow
she
Melissa.
got her head up too all the time. Like she's observant.
Oh,
You're
yeah, I'm
always
taking everything
observant.
in. Yeah.
Everything is going
Everything.
on. Yeah,
I noticed. I'd be like, Kev, you didn't see this, but da 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 da.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Quick.
listen. Chance
Quick.
like, hey, you don't be paying attention.
Yeah, that's
You
that's
ain't,
Kev.
you ain't see them
Yeah,
two people
listen,
right there.
I'm
I'm
like,
living in the
yeah,
world.
Exactly.
I don't have time to
How
focus
did
on
you
them people.
not see that?
Y'all too busy smiling.
Listen,
Yeah.
Listen.
y'all need to check y'all blood.
Notice when you're with other married couples, when you're a married couple and you're with other married couples, it's like, nigga, what is, but I gotten used to it. I've gotten used to it. What did you say, Mr. Braska? Wow, I thought the dude was what? No, that's his wife. That's his wife on the mic. That's his. That's all him. That's all. Oh, because he had a. Oh, you ain't shit. Because his voice was a little his voice was a little pink. His voice was a little pink. You ain't shit.
Listen,
Oh yeah, marriage couple thing. I had to get used to the whole marriage couple thing for a while, because the moment he kept talking, I'm like, "Ugh." I kept growling, but we ended up playing NCAA football at the time, and I was like, I can get used to this. He's a little flaming. Stop it. Stop.
for real.
Y'all might have been separated.
I
at birth.
be-
Y'all
every
I
might
talked
time.
have
about
been
more than
brothers and
Melissa.
sisters.
I told them when we was flying private and on the yacht.
Hello.
I said, Chance, you are more like Melissa than her siblings.
Yeah.
I know both her sisters. They are
It's
not.
crazy.
Y'all. I don't know nothing about that North Carolina, Ohio. Something happened in that blood.
Listen.
Because Melissa don't trust nobody. She be like, hello.
Hey,
You sure enough.
I'm a people watcher. I was watching Melissa, and I felt confident. Like, oh, Melissa got that part.
Oh, yeah.
Like when we was on the buses and stuff out there, when we was driving and stuff. I look back.
Even when I was
y'all
sick,
doing
I
y'all
was
little
aware.
thing. Yep.
You was sick.
Even when I was sick.
Yeah, no, but I just
was
wanted to
aware.
because I do get a lot of people who I think Tab said I'd be mad, but they just have this idea when they approach me that, or if they hear me say something, right, that ain't Tabitha Brown like.
Yeah.
You know, I got a few cuss words in my package. You know what I mean? So if you hear me, they'd be like,
Listen, did y'all see when Chance made a post when he was playing basketball?
Bruh.
He had to make sure he let the people know it is not Uncle Chance on the court.
Bruh.
they come into the court looking for Uncle Chance and
Chance
support.
trying to
and
bust
hugs.
you up on the
Yeah.
court.
Nah, listen, man.
But that's what makes us us.
That's
Yeah.
We're two different people.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Real quick, I ain't going nowhere with it. Hold on. I wish Brownsville were here, because if he were to see, I hate when this happens. If he were to see this clip, which is so funny, it is just so hilariously funny. Let's see.
Yeah, coffee. You mean you're gonna get it? Yes. You're surprised? I'm sorry, Mrs. Huxtable. I didn't think you did that kind of thing. What kind of thing? You know, serve. Serve whom? Serve him. Oh, serve him! As in serve your man? Well, yeah. Let me tell you something, Elvis. You see, I am not serving Dr. Huxtable, okay? Okay. That's the kind of thing that goes on in a restaurant. Now, I'm going to bring him a cup of coffee just like he brought me a cup of coffee this morning. And that, young man, is what marriage is made of. It is give and take 50-50. And if you don't get it together and drop these macho attitudes, you are never going to have anybody bringing you anything, anywhere, any place, anytime, ever. Would you and Dr. Huxtable like some coffee? Coffee? Yeah, coffee. You mean you're going to get it? Yes. You're surprised? I'm sorry, Mrs. Huxtable. I didn't think you did that kind of thing. What kind of thing? You know, serve. Serve whom? Serve him. Oh, serve him! As in serve your man? Well, yeah. Let me tell you something, Elvis. You see, I am not serving Dr. Huxtable, okay? Okay. That's the kind of thing that goes on in a restaurant. Now, I'm going to bring him a cup of coffee just like he brought me a cup of coffee this morning. And that, young man, is what marriage is made of. It is give and take 50-50. And if you don't get it together and drop these macho attitudes, you are never going to have anybody bringing you anything, anywhere, any place, anytime, ever.
Melvin! Oh, well, give or take 50-50. No, it don't take 50-50. It takes 100. There's no such thing as 100, because if it, I hate when that happens. When you're going 100, how do you have time for yourself? How do you have time for yourself? Because you have only one life. You have your health to think about. And you have your situation. You have downtime. That would be the reason, right? When you serve her, she serves you. That's how it's supposed to be. And then when your kids grow up, guess what they do? Alrighty then. Let's see here. Let me go back to this. Nah. I guess we can go through the culture. I guess we can do this one too.
We counsel one another. We feel together, we reveal together, so we can heal together. And in that sense, backed by popular demand, we have a bonus conversation, a well-needed conversation with the one and only Dr. Umar Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Man, we got the internet going crazy. We almost Cat Williams this day.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget, it's an open mic night. It's an open mic night. Anybody's invited. We're gonna take this as far as 3, maybe 4 hours, and then we're gonna call it a week, because I'm going to take a week off. It's well needed.
But speaking of, man, something that we didn't get a chance to touch on in some of the other sessions that you stated needs to be talked about.
Yes, sir.
In this conversation, because this is all about professionals.
Yes, sir.
Really opening up and creating safe spaces to talk about things that we don't normally get to talk about.
Yes.
And that's the one thing, is the infrastructure of the Black family today. Black relationships between, brothers and sisters, and specifically the idea of what we're dealing with in this mental health state of suicide rate.
Yes, sir.
And we know the importance of therapy. We know the importance of having this type of dialogue and these conversations. But I wanted to give you the space to speak specifically on it, and maybe even, you know, share some wisdom on, you know, how we can heal in those areas, because it's detrimental to our community.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
I mean, we're, all those things that I just stated, we're losing rapid.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Yes,
and so I'll let you, you know, take the floor on where we probably even need to
Yes,
open
sir.
up and discuss these things.
I'm gonna start with the COVID quarantine, brother Nick. When the kids had to stay home,
Yeah.
the suicide rate for Black girls went through the roof.
Really?
What was it about COVID quarantine that led so many of our teenage girls to start taking their lives?
Wow. And isn't it a statement again? I'm maybe paraphrasing it, but they say the lowest
elderly Black women historically were the lowest group, and middle-aged white men were the highest suicide group.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Black women,
Black girls.
Okay.
No, Black women is increasing.
Really?
Yeah, Black women never used to commit suicide.
At
now
all.
they are.
Yeah.
But Black girls are the fastest growing since COVID.
Wow.
And my particular belief around this issue, brother Nick, even though public school is horrible for our children,
yes,
it was one of the only times our children could get a break from the trauma of the home. Do you see that? I might not be learning,
right,
but I ain't got to get bullied by my brother.
Right.
I ain't got to get molested by my uncle. I ain't got to get emotionally traumatized by my mom. I ain't got to worry about the abandonment of my dad. You see that?
I see that.
So for school, although they're not learning, for many of them, it was the only break they could get.
Right.
And just to double back on that ADHD topic really quick, Nick, I often find two competing explanations for so-called ADHD. One you already hit on because you went through it.
Right.
And that is a gifted child whose giftedness is being ignored and blamed on ADHD.
Right.
He ain't got ADHD, he's smart. And the curriculum ain't challenging him.
Right.
That's why he hyper and inattentive, because he's bored. Right. The other one, brother Nick, is a child who comes to school dealing with emotional problems from home and can't focus on the work because I'm reliving the trauma of the house.
Right.
So now we got these teenage Black girls committing suicide. And one of the reasons why they're committing suicide is the fatherlessness has made them vulnerable to so many types of abuse and exploitation that they take in their own lives.
Right.
I personally was part of a situation where a girl in a high school in Philadelphia, we found her in the girls' bathroom, wrist slit.
Wow.
Guess why? Her boyfriend broke up with her. That is how desperate a lot of our girls are because of the absentee fatherism. And when I say fatherism, I don't just mean her biological. I'm saying Black men. Because here's the thing, brother Nick. Every woman on the planet Earth, and of course I'm focusing on my sisters, but I want what's best for the others as well. But I'm gonna focus on us. Every Black woman needs a Black man who genuinely cares and loves about her, who doesn't want what's between her legs. You understand me?
These are some of the things that I'm having trouble with. I'm having trouble understanding certain philosophies about dudes who have this sustaining thing for women. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I need help. I need real help from a real person that can tell me why is it that they feel what they feel. And is this on purpose? And I'm talking shit right now, but don't you? But you praise Black families all the time. All these individuals just praise Black families all the time, right? But do you want a partner, or do you want a slave? Do you want a wife, or do you want a helpmate? Do you want a? I mean, what is it that a man wants? I would ask the same for a woman. What does she want? But it's more circulated towards the men, towards a woman than anything. So I asked the man in verbatim, what is it that you want? And no, obviously no one's told me yet.
Normally, that's your father, but a lot of them, the fathers ain't there. That could be your grandfather. He might be an ancestor. Right. That could be your uncle. He might be stationed off in the military zone somewhere. You understand?
Facts.
Every girl needs a man who's intimately in love with them, but not sexually.
Right.
When she don't get that, she go looking for that. Right. And that's why we got a teenage pregnancy problem in the Black community. Right. If we didn't have a fatherlessness problem, there would be no teenage pregnancy problem. Yeah. Teenage pregnancy is not about sex. Right. It's not about promiscuity. Yeah. It's about a girl looking for the father's validation. And because he's not there, she goes shopping elsewhere. Wow. Now let's bring this to the Black on Black love. Yeah. As you know, Black people are the last to marry and the first to divorce. And the Black woman is the last to get married and the first to get divorced. Right? Now, because we are the most traumatized community, that trauma automatically affects our relationships. You can't talk about healthy Black male-female love if you don't talk about Black on Black community dysfunction. Right. Why would the family be functional if no other institution is? Right. You see that? Don't divorce the family from everything else we got going in the community, which is dysfunctional. Now, too often, Nick, from a psychological perspective, we go into relationships looking to fulfill needs that our parents never did. Right. So the relationship is a means to an end of getting something you never got. Right. And the main things we're looking for from our opposite partner, we're looking for intimacy and love. We're looking for availability and presence. We're looking for trust and dependency. And we're looking for reciprocity and the ability to share. Those are 4 things you needed from your mother, 4 things you needed from your father. If you got both, you can love and you can leave. If you didn't get both, you might be insecure and unstable in certain areas.
That's power. That's more powerful than the 5 love languages.
You see,
you need to coin that and write a book on that.
And on top of that, brother Nick, what the opposite gender parent did to you or didn't do matters most. See, my father could have been present. My father and I could have been intimate father-son, healthy. My father could have been trustworthy. We could have been able to share and exchange. But what if I couldn't do it with my mom?
Didn't get any of those.
Do you see that? Right. I'm going to look for a woman to do for me what my mother could not. You ever
had to have a healthy balance of both mother and father. The mother is the emotional one. The father is the bold type like male figure. But both roles can be switched. And that's what I respect. I respect if both roles were switched, which both male and female, they both have the feminine and masculine trait. So if I had a one-on-one discussion with my father, and if it were an emotional, depending upon the time, not all the time, a man is not supposed to be emotional all the time. I mean, nigga, go and get some help or something. But if there was that one time, or if not just when someone dies, I mean, come on, it could be a variety of things you could be emotional for. But if you're in if it's an emotional time between father and son, it can be that. You can't have a series of men not having that once abundant emotional time with each other, because our sons are going to run around acting like cavemen, acting like these Homo sapiens who didn't speak anything, right? Like they would be a danger to the community because they don't have what is a balanced trait of both masculine and feminine energy. So if you just come out with one mechanical thing, you're going to endanger so many people. But if you have a series of just feminine in it, I mean, it can go so wrong in a variety of ways. And this is the reason why there's a fatality rate of these dudes beating the shit out of these women. You can go online and you can look all that stuff up if you want. There is a multi-fatality rate of black men, sad to say, beating up on black women. And then I get some knucklehead, well, what about the black women beating up on black men? I was like, if there is one that is beating your ass at 186 pounds when a woman's average is 120, a little average is 125, I'm gonna need for you to pack up and leave. You too weak. Now I can see if the woman was like 5'10", 5'11", and you were 5'7", 5'6", and she weighed the average of 255, or actually, well, the average is the minimum is 250. Let's just say 250, 252. I'm sorry, 152. God damn it, 152, and he's 5'7" and he weighed 120 pounds. 130 pounds is the max. I can see that if she's beating you to a pulp. But the majority of men who are average 6 feet, whose average weight is 185 pounds, just imagine them being in an emotional wreck. You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with the anger and the pain that they have because they've grown up without a father for most of their lives. So you have to have an equal balance of both masculinity and femininity. It's that simple.
You've been in a relationship with a woman where you felt like you was more than a husband, you had to be the father too. See that? That's where that comes from, Nick. She had an unmet need. Daddy didn't do it. So now I need Nick to do this, and you weighing on me too much because I'm your king, but now you want me to be your dad. I didn't sign up for both roles, and you draining me. I love you, but you draining me. If you don't pull back off this father role, I might have to leave this relationship because in essence, what you have become to me is a spiritual vampire. What is a spiritual vampire, Nick? A spiritual vampire is a psychologically, emotionally unhealthy African floating around the community looking for somebody to heal illnesses and injuries to their soul that only their parents can fix. Wow. Emotional vampires think that if I find the right man, if I find the right woman, he can heal me. No, he can't. That damage was done by your family of origin, and it got to be repaired there. You ever watch one of those old horror movies, Freddy Krueger, Jason or something, and they want to finally kill Jason or Freddy, and the person comes and tell them, you got to go back to where they was born. You got to go back to the beginning. The same thing is in relationships. The origin story. The same thing is, and what I tell black women, if you know you weighing too heavily on your king, go find you a surrogate dad. Go find you an elder, somebody who's too old to want something from you, and ask him, can he be that person that can give you honest advice and a hug when you need it? And the same thing with men, because for men who didn't have a mother, not only do they look for women to fulfill those needs, Nick, but you know what else? They become the domestic abusers. If you were to interview men who abuse their women of any race, but we're talking about us, you will find that disproportionately, they were either abandoned by their mothers or abused by their mothers in some way. They carry that pain in them. It never went away. And guess what? When the girlfriend starts letting them down and disappointing them,
It's transferred to her.
The transference from the mother. And I don't know if you know this, well, you probably do because you read the news. We dealing with an epidemic of black men killing 8 black women, choking them, killing it. We never did that. We never did that. And now we doing it. Going back to your mental health piece. Black men, because we are the most oppressed, we're the most traumatized. But you know what else? Because of our definitions of masculinity, which says a man can't be vulnerable to get help, we're the least likely to go get some damn help. Black men are in pain. but we cover it up with the exterior. But when we get behind the privacy of our door in our home, we let all that pain out on the only person who loves us unconditionally.
That's dangerous. You know, I don't take this the wrong way, but I love it when these emotional. Have you ever heard a man? So I'm talking about men in these spaces, this small space. Have you ever heard a man so emotional that it sickens your stomach? It just makes you want to just gag in your mouth and do just drink something just to get the taste out of your mouth. It's just like, nigga, go on somewhere. Like you two goddamn emotional for me. Because the only complaint that you have is a woman. When will this end? When will this end? Because you're going to end up hurting the next person. And the next person after her is going to not want you because you're so damn emotional. A person who is invested in so much, I don't even know what to call it. It's not testosterone, but somebody who's invested in just letting everything out. And it showed it. I gotta pull up that video. It showed it on This Might Be Risky. This Might Be Risky's live with DJ Hemp. Shout out DJ Hemp. And you got a Negro who was so goddamn emotional. Like, it's like, yo, this person, it took me to jail. They called the cops on me and they took me to jail and all this other stuff. And I hate you women. I hate you bitches. Like, go bathe or something like that. So I ended up kicking them off, and then you got all these emotional ass niggas bring them back. I'm like, this ain't it. This is not for me. I don't want to be in a place. I don't want to be in a city where you just an emotional wreck. Because you know what that does, right? I'll tell you what that does. The same thing when a child has a temper tantrum because he can't get the next Madden 2025. He gets all emotional when he can't, even if he receives it, and if he can't play it because it's homework time, he might get a little emotional. For those who don't have discipline in their home, he might get a little emotional, and you might just get a little temper tantrum child. But the thing is about this is a child that I can discipline. I can give the discipline, I can give the work, and I can also show the love. But at the same damn time, over here, the only thing I can give is advice. You too goddamn grown to be this invested in your emotions, because you're gonna get the person hurt. You're gonna get the woman hurt. You're gonna get the man hurt. Because it only takes one time for somebody to pick up something and throw it at you, or swing it at you, or you're in a fisticuffs with a woman and you hit her, she falls to the floor, deletion. Or you try to swing a knife at him and stab him and hit an artery, deletion. We need to put our emotions in check and bring back balance.
and that's the woman. You see, I always tell people this: if you don't like you, why are you expecting him to like you? Why are you looking for a relationship if you ain't got one with yourself first? You don't like yourself. Why are you shopping for? If you don't like yourself,
right?
Why would anybody else like you?
Hey,
you don't even like
you. Don't
you.
Like yourself, and you looking
and I'm
for
supposed to spend
somebody
the rest
else
of
to
my life
like
with
you.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Same thing with self-esteem.
Yeah.
I tell people, if you got low self-esteem, you have no business dating somebody with high self-esteem, because the only thing you could be to them is an emotional slave. We always talk about being equally yoked economically.
Right.
We talk about being equally yoked educationally.
Right.
What about being equally yoked psychologically?
Yeah.
Because guess what,
and
Nick?
Emotionally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If Nick Cannon dates a sister who has no self-confidence,
right?
First of all, you're not going to want her, because without self-confidence, you're not attractive.
Right.
But on top of that, you're going to end up being her slave master.
Yeah, dominating her. Then she want to call me a narcissist.
Because she has no... But don't get me wrong, though, Nick. I'm going to say this, though. I'm going to say this. For us black men, we do have a narcissism problem in relationships with our women.
100%.
Do you understand me?
Yeah.
We have
because that's an ego problem.
It's an ego problem.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. I'm just going to put you on the spot.
All right.
Being as successful as you are,
right?
Do you think you struggled with narcissism in your romances?
Absolutely, but I'm doing the work. So I know the narcissistic personality disorder. I've taken the test.
Okay.
Sense, but again,
but even men who are not where you are, suffer with the narcissism.
Because it's a spectrum.
Yes,
and,
sir.
I don't have problems with rage, which a lot of men in our community do.
Absolutely.
I don't have a problem with rage. That's probably from doing the work.
Yeah.
And then I'm empathetic. I do have empathy.
Which is good, because a lot of men don't.
Right.
A lot of men don't. I just got.
But all the other narcissists, I do. I think I'm special.
Okay.
I think I'm right. I am a natural manipulator.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's what, as entertainers, that's what we are.
Yes, sir.
So again, I know how to act in a way to make people feel.
I got you.
But I deal now that, because I'm doing the work here on council,
working on self.
Yeah, I do know, but I have struggled with that in many relationships. Because, and really, I have this narcissistic energy that I put forth because it's protecting the little boy Nick.
Yes.
That dealt with some trauma and abandonment issues.
Understood.
So in that, I want my woman to do as I say, and then I also come from a strong religious and Christian background where there's a hierarchy of God, man, woman.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Although I would say man and woman should be side by side.
I'm talking about what I came up under.
Okay, I got you.
Another thing. Yeah, another thing. Every Negro that I knocked into always goes to the hierarchy of it being God first, man second, and then woman third. And I always preach the triangle method. God is always going to be at the top. There's man and then there's woman side by side. What comes in the middle of all this? A generation of kids, a generation of children. And they mimic the same triangular shape, making it God first, and then it's just like in certain marriages, they give you a rope to tie that knot between you and the person that you're married. There's the other type of marriages where you smash a glass or something. And then there's the African traditional marriage, which I really need. I need to study a little bit more about the African ritual of the traditional marriage in Africa. I really need to study a little bit more. But I do know there's the rope. There's the traditional marriage with, man, woman, and child, and sickness and in health till death do you part, blah, 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 blah. I know there's more, right? But when it comes to it being God first, and then man second, and then woman third, the man's the head and the woman's the neck, I mean, if it works for people, if it works for you, then it works for you. Me, I have no problem with my wife or anybody else's wife, for that matter, doing what they need to do. If I'm wounded or something, or if I have low energy, low vibes, I have no problem with a woman being in charge. Not at all. For what? I mean, come on, we're in the day and age of survival. And if you can't make it, then she has the strength, or she has strength. Who is going to be there for you when you can't go on? When you cannot work? When you cannot not only sustain a whole family, how are you going to sustain yourself? You're not going to be able to, because you're so weak. When you get strength, when you get your strength back, when you straighten up, then you do what you need to do. But until then, she's in charge. I don't want to have to hear one knucklehead go, I don't want a woman. Too late, nigga. Sit your ass down somewhere. Take your medicine, son. Take your medicine. Let the woman do the work until you are able, you're healthy, and you're able to lead the family. But until then, shut the fuck up.
I don't believe that.
I got you.
But I mean, because
I got
there's
you.
a subservient idealism that comes with a lot of our, church going.
Yes, sir. That's correct. That's correct.
Backgrounds away. You do as your man
They're very
say.
patriarchal.
Yeah, so I've learned and grown out of that system.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I've definitely had, issues of, I know, therefore you must follow and understand.
Yes.
But
Yes.
now I understand that there is a balance. And, that's probably one of the things I've struggled with the most in my relationships.
Okay.
Is, my narcissistic behavior.
One thing we as men do poorly, I've been there before too. When you've been through trauma,
right,
whether it's home or romance, we are less courageous at becoming vulnerable again to give another woman an opportunity to love us the way we need to be loved.
Say that.
Black women often chase the women away that we want because we don't allow them to love us. We are shut off emotionally, and we try to substitute the shutting off emotionally with providing them with the lavish lifestyle.
Yeah.
The gifts, the sex, the social life.
Guilty.
Do you see that?
Guilty.
And so what happens is we will say, I can't keep a woman. It's not true. You're chasing her away through your nonverbals and your emotional detachment. There's nothing that starves a woman more than when she tries to love us and we don't let her.
All right, so then I wasn't even gonna go here, but since we here, because I know you
I'm a
dealt in
therapist.
this world,
Yes, sir.
but you also dealt in this
And
world.
yes, sir.
Okay, y'all. I have to save that for a little later. You know what really irks my crawl is when, and of course, not everybody has issues with Dr. Umar. I know. Trust me. I know. I get the DMs and the community tabs and then when is he coming out with the school, and he's not married to his baby mama's da 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 da. I think you need to look at your own life, sir. You need to look at your own life and see what you need to work on. Let him work on him. You work on you. But there's always just Negroes, this negritude of certain individuals that I just want to just. If I wasn't a Christian, let me show you what I'm talking. as he was talking, right? I come to find out, here it is. I come to find out that these Pacific Negroes on the Peace always find it to entertain themselves with Umar, what they would call Umar Babble. Let's listen in.
So black women,
Black girls.
Okay.
No, black women is increasing.
Really?
Yeah, black women never used to commit suicide.
At
Now
all.
they are.
Yeah.
But black girls are the fastest growing since COVID.
Wow.
And my particular belief around this issue, Brother Nick, even though public school is horrible for our children,
yes,
it was one of the only times our children could get a break from the trauma of the home. Do you see that? I might not be learning,
right,
but I ain't got to get bullied by my brother.
Right.
I ain't got to get molested by my uncle. I ain't got to get emotionally traumatized by my mom. I ain't got to worry about the abandonment of my dad. You see that?
I see that.
So for school, although they're not learning, for many of them, it was the only break they could get.
Right.
And just to double back on that ADHD topic really quick, Nick, I often find two competing explanations for so-called ADHD. One you already hit on because you went through it,
right? And
that is a gifted child whose giftedness is being ignored and blamed on ADHD.
Right.
He ain't got ADHD, he's smart. And the curriculum ain't challenging him.
Right.
That's why he hyper and inattentive, because he's bored, right? The other one, Brother Nick, is a child who comes to school dealing with emotional problems from home and can't focus on the work because I'm reliving the trauma of the house.
Right.
So now we got these teenage black girls committing suicide. And one of the reasons why they're committing suicide is the fatherlessness has made them vulnerable to so many types of abuse and exploitation that they take in their own lives.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the first part of it, trauma in the house. We'll go ahead and start with you, Kenny P. What were your thoughts about this, sir?
Listen, despite Umar and his other antics, if you go and stat check the facts, he's pretty much on point. And it just shows that something I pointed out in a prior show about us not healing from trauma, if you're talking about our community, is very high. Then you put us in an enclosure where we have to stop because we're always on the go and assess and look in the mirror. A lot of people don't like what they see. And then the problems that they had, now they come to full fruition and they have nowhere else to escape it. A lot of people go to work and just keep their problems, behind and stuff like that. But then you don't have no movement. So now you have to address it. DVs went up, all type of situations domestically. It escalated during the pandemic, as they pointed out. So it's just you having to address your problems once you're enclosed. And the stats are there to prove it. I digress.
Anybody else want to have something to say on that one?
Yeah.
Nigga, sick or something? take some medicine.
And I agree with Kenny, and I know often these type of conversations we kind of bump heads on, but I absolutely agree that we aren't creating the spaces that we need for our people to heal. And I think a big part of that is the fact that we continue to
Oh no. You do create the spaces to heal. The fact of the matter is you don't want to heal. All you want is drama. That's all you want. And it's proven beyond. It's proven beyond. Even on Sharon's live, it's just drama, but he sometimes does an excellent job in controlling the subject. What I'm saying is there are spaces beyond this sector that do nothing but trauma. I mean, the constant in it, and it's not just your Antons, it's not just your Anton dad, Anton dad, it's not just your angry mans or whatever. They've had their time. And I'm not saying that they can often do they often do it at times where they just be chaotic about shit. I mean, there are others, and it gets perplexingly worse as time goes on. So if you want to create a space, if you want to create a space with peace, if you want to create a space with no drama, if you want to create a space where it's perplexingly, just a whole bunch of men trying to see if we can come to some solution to heal one another, you can't have all this. You can't go from one end to the spectrum and go into another end of the perspective. The wanting to make peace to the wanting to bash women, wanting to bash other, simps like myself, I guess. Let's have the conversation that needs to be had without all this babble talk.
To regurgitate the same information and thoughts and perspectives that is literally influencing us in a negative way. I understand that there are terrible things that happen inside the Black home, but that happens because everybody is in a painful environment. They're holding on to painful shit. So if they're holding on to painful shit, they're in a painful environment, and they're going on the internet, they're hearing people talk about things that's not going to uplift them and give them hope, then there is no hope. You're just going to be stuck in this constant cycle that you'll never be able to get out of. So that's a big reason why I stand so strong on giving people information to get out of those ruts, to not allow for your mindset, because your mind creates everything. How it is that you think controls your lifestyle. It controls if it controls if you're motivated to go out and do better and make yourself better, to seek the knowledge to be better, to get more out of life, compared to just constantly being told that we won't make it, that life is gonna be terrible, you always gonna be stuck in the hood, you're gonna always meet a man that's gonna bless you or beat you up or whatever. If we speak more life into people, if our homes create more life, even though they are destroyed and in trauma, but if we create more life and speak that into people, I think that we will see a much greater change than what we've been seeing.
All right.
Real quick, before you go to the next clip, I want to just point this out, that I believe Kenny's explanation seems more plausible to me than any of the ones that Umar mentioned. Well, most of the ones that Umar mentioned in there, and a little bit of that Biz mentioned. Like, for instance, Umar was saying, molestation from uncles. He mentioned abandonment from the father. But let me flip that. I'd rather say, these young teenage girls, what Umar probably didn't expound on, because this is something we talked about on a different podcast, on another show that I was on, was that most of all the girls that deleted themselves were in single parent homes, and just her and her mom. It was the mothers that didn't give a shit about them, in my personal opinion. And we know our people. So I'd say that those girls were unprotected by their mothers, because the mothers couldn't protect them, which is one of the important reasons why men need to be there. Oftentimes not abandonment, like as it was so eloquently put by Umar, but we know how that goes. That's a whole different argument, but y'all know how I feel about that. Then also,
now did I mute myself? No, I did. Now I was on that panel. We would have had fisticuffs hey, Lita, how are you? We would have had, in logical form, not in a fisticuffs, but in a logical form, we would have been like, okay, so you always seem to do this. You always seem to put the onus on a woman. But let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, seriously. If that were the case, right? If this were the case, now there have been plenty of instances where, yes, women, there were single mothers, right? And the daughters had to live with their mothers. But for what peculiar reason? Where was the father? Interesting. Where was the father all this fucking time? Well, was he playing with himself? Or was he in jail? Was he selling drugs? What was he doing? Was he on the road? Is he a truck driver? Is he an MMA fighter? What is he doing? They don't give those sort of explanations, right? But I do get it. I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him in a sense. But stop trying to continuously put the onus on women. Can we talk about single father, wives, fathers are single? Can we make it a little even? Can we make it a little balanced? Why are single fathers single fathers? Not knocking single fathers. Why are single mothers in a particular situation that they're in? Why? I think it would be best that I'm going to see if I can actually do this, because I am just as responsible. I am a father, right? I am just as responsible for my children and other people's children as I am with mine, as they are with mine. You know why? I'm joking. If something were to happen, especially on our watches, if, let's just say, my son goes to play with somebody else's son, right? And they go across the street and one of them gets hit by a car. Who's going to go to that? Who's going to go to those kids? We are responsible for those kids. I'm responsible for mine. They're responsible for theirs. But at the same time, I go to that child that got hit by a car and I see to his attention, because he needs our attention. If my daughter got into a situation where somebody was touching her inappropriately around my neighborhood, I would expect somebody to come get me, knock on my door and come and get me and tell me about the situation so I can regulate it. And I would absolutely do the exact same thing for their daughters. Where did all of this go? It is nowhere to be found because we're too busy on the fucking internet talking about masculinity, femininity, all this other horse stuff. Proud of you.
Social media played a role, in my personal opinion. The wildly high beauty standards that social media places on these young girls today is crazy, man. You know, and when these young girls couldn't meet those beauty standards, they delete themselves. You know, and when you got people out here, when these young, this is 2020 that this happened. And so everybody had an iPhone. Everybody had an Android. Everybody had Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all this other kind of stuff. And you locked into your room all day long because you're not in school. You locked into your room all day long and you scrolling and swiping. And all you do is see the Kim Kardashians out there. And all you do is see all these lashes and hair and all this stuff. And if you couldn't afford to get that kind of stuff, or even if you did get it, but you still didn't look like what you were told that you should look like, it's the way women are wired. So, oh my God, I can't believe it. If they have a pimple, they lose their mind. They delete themselves. So I believe in Kenny's assessment on why it happened more so than what Umar was kind of. I think he was trying to play the role again. You know how I think he tries to play his audience.
Sensationalize.
Bullshit. You just don't want to admit your flaws as men, not as a man, not the individual himself. But I don't think you want to admit the flaws of men. We can sit here all day long and we can admit the flaws of a woman. That's just too easy. But we are the ones that are responsible for putting the burdens on our backs when it comes to this country. Aren't we the ones that built this country? Aren't we the ones, men like us, men? Aren't we the responsible ones? Aren't we? So let's be honest. If we get a woman pregnant, is it her fault that she got pregnant? Or is it ours? Is it mine or is it ours? Let's keep it 100, fam. Or I have a solution. I have a solution. You might like this one. Hear me. You might like this solution. I definitely just came up with this one. All right, you hear me? You ready? Get the fuck off the line! Just get off! See? I came up with a solution. Let's continue.
Yeah. I just want to throw that out there, JR.
All right. I'm going to go to the topic, and then let me just go ahead and play this one, and then I'll come to you right next, Trey. Next one is every woman needs a man who generally loves and cares about her, but not sexually.
Recently was part of a situation
Wow.
where a girl in a high school in Philadelphia,
They just love Dr. Umar, don't they?
we found her in the girls' bathroom, wrist slit.
Wow.
Guess why? Her boyfriend broke up with her. That is how desperate a lot of our girls are because of the absentee fatherism. And when I say fatherism, I don't just mean her biological.
Right.
I'm saying black men. Because here's the thing, Brother Nick. Every woman on the planet Earth, and of course I'm focusing on my sisters, but I want what's best for the others as well. But I'm gonna focus on us. Every black woman needs a black man who genuinely cares and loves about her, who doesn't want what's between her legs. You understand me?
Yeah.
Normally, that's your father, but a lot of them, the fathers ain't there. That could be your grandfather. He might be an ancestor. Right. That could be your uncle. He might be stationed off in the military zone somewhere. You understand?
Facts.
Every girl needs a man who's intimately in love with him, but not sexually.
Right.
When she don't get that, she go looking for that. Right. And that's why we got a teenage pregnancy problem in the black community. Right. If we didn't have a fatherlessness problem, there would be no teenage pregnancy problem.
Yeah.
Teenage pregnancy is not about sex.
Right.
It's not about promiscuity.
Yeah.
It's about a girl looking for the father's validation. And because he's not there, she goes shopping elsewhere.
All right. Every woman needs a man who generally loves and cares about her, but not sexually. Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah, so what he's mentioning right now, I'm gonna bring right back to Shannon's point about the beauty situation. During that time period, the beauty industry was one of the very few industries that did not see a dip, and people are inside and home. How the hell is that, right? And
Kylie Cosmetics.
The word he used was validation. Young ladies have become addicted to this validation. They see a way of getting it through the social media now, and us as men sometimes we contribute to that wrong validation. and it's problematic. And these women, these young ladies, definitely need fathers in their lives. We could go over and over about every single metric that is worse without the father being present, or at least some prominent male figure that's in their lives that could not just want to take advantage of them, but be able to teach them, right? Show them their worth, tell them that they are beautiful, so they're not searching for this validation, right? Learn the nature of men and what to look for and what not to look for, and how.
So far, it's making sense. Yeah, so far, it's making sense.
How to be respected and be respectful. These are, and that's one of the things too, and that's what makes them pretty much not value men in the first place. They never had them in the picture, so why would they feel like they ever need a man if they weren't around doing anything positive to contribute to their lives? Why would they appreciate a man? So it's extremely important for them to have that, and we have to figure out different ways of breaking that vicious cycle, right? It's a terrible thing to hear stories like what he was talking about in Philadelphia. What could we do to counteract that? What can we do as men to counteract that? Like, you know, most of us on the panel, or if not everyone here who has children, we see the importance of being in our sons and our daughters' lives, and we give them that time and we play with them. And some of us even while out and paint nails and all that if you have to, right? Just to spend time with your daughter, right? That's what we do. We do. Listen, I didn't do that. My wife is here, so I didn't have.
No, I be doing the tea party and playing dolls. I definitely play dolls.
Tea parties are real. Tea parties are real.
I saw that.
Ain't nothing wrong with playing tea parties with your daughter. I used to do it when my daughter was real little. You know what I'm saying? Now that she's damn near a teenager, it's like, damn, I got to start whooping some. I got to start whooping some dudes' ass now. I gotta be Rambo. If you didn't see the last Rambo, go rent it. I got to be that. I got to be that father now.
But I said, look, Shane, I fortunately haven't had to because my children have both parents, fortunately. But we
don't you let me find a picture of you wearing a tutu.
Nah, you never see it. But it's important for us to be there, and we have to care enough, and we can't. We have to be responsible about it, man. Like, just be careful with your seeds. Be careful where you plant your seeds. Just understand that. Listen, man. Even if you don't want that woman in your life, man, just try to figure out some type of amicable arrangement to where you can spend time with her, some one-on-one time, just to have that bond with her, because she's going to need that male bonding. That's not sexual. I truly believe what he said with that. That part is legit. He kind of threw me off before with the other subject where, you know, about the ADD situation, because that's different. Like, that's a neurological disorder, right? That affects your nervous system. So if you are diagnosed with ADHD, then you probably have it, right? So I don't really want to. I'm not gonna harp on that too much, but we shouldn't.
No. Remember, there's a difference between ADD and ADHD. They added the hyper.
I know.
On the DSM-5, yeah, so they can. So sometimes the ADHD isn't necessarily a neurological. Where the ADD, you're right, ADD is. I think they threw the H in there, the hyper part, to reclassify it to get money. But that's just me. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Well, that's a money grab. That's a whole nother situation. That's a money grab. But our sons and our daughters, they need us. Right, and females were just more impressionable. They're going to be more susceptible to that emotion, and sometimes make decisions. They're more likely to make decisions based on emotions. Right, a lot of men will get through it. I can understand why he said the other demographic is out there like that too, because when they get them situations, they're not used to that. Like a lot of us, man, we grew up in the struggle. We were kind of built for that. Right, so we've always experienced it. So like, if I had to go back to oodles and noodles, I'm gonna hate that shit, but I'm not gonna kill myself. Like I'm cool. Like I'm just.
Yeah, if you want them parasites in you, them little bugs, go right ahead, eat them oodles and noodles.
I'm like, damn, I gotta rough it, man. We're gonna have to rough this out. Whereas some people just can't fathom that. They can't see themselves ever being broken. You see a lot of people, like you saw the dude who jumped off the tower and all that. Once he realized he was gonna go broke, that was it for him. They can't face some type of circumstances. They're not used to that. It's foreign to them. Whereas a lot of us, we came up in the struggle and we had to bring it out the mud, or at least seen our parents get out the mud. And we had to do a lot. We had the hand-me-downs, right? I had the old sneakers, man. You know what I mean? I had to water those when I was younger. My parents couldn't really get that for me. But, you know, it was a struggle. And got clowned for it. But I was used to it. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to try not to ever be there again. But if I had to, and it came down to it, man, I'm going to survive. I let it go.
So I think I 100% agree with him that every woman, young and old, especially children, especially in their formative years, need somebody that does not view them sexually, that plays a male leadership role, that affirms and validates who they are, helps them understand their power and help them achieve the ultimate form of self-confidence, or forms of self-confidence to keep them where they can see themselves in comparison to the fake pictures online and be able to stay grounded in reality. It also sounds like there's a shortage of men in these homes, or a shortage of men that actually want to be, father figures to them. I wish there was a solution for the minority of men that actually care about helping the families to help those other families. Anyway, predators usually look to kids without a father figure around. The sexual assault, the getting indoctrinated into the gang life, all those things come from not having a male there to protect you from the outside world, unless you just have the most rebellious kid ever. And there's probably a reason for that too. But if you do care a household and be a
stepdad, my last wife, I met her, 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, brought him in.
Sorry, Mr. Wife was kind of putting me to sleep. Sorry.
Raised them, bought them cars, gave them game. The game I give on this show, I gave it. Men in growing up, it was champion. You were championed to be a stepdad, because when you came into a woman's life that didn't have a man for whatever reason, you listen to him. The mother would instruct the child, instruct us. Because I'm 51, I'll be 52 next month. But when I was in the 70s, your mama told you, listen at him, and follow what he say, and do what he say, because he's here to make things better for us. We're gonna respect him, so on and so forth. Something switched, and it wasn't the men. It wasn't like the men just got shiftless and didn't work no more, and we got lazy and just started becoming gangster rappers and shit. That wasn't the case, far and wide. Something changed. Yeah. And what changed was, I want to talk about what changed. I do know one thing: men ain't taking that deal no more. Men are like, oh, you know what? I know what y'all used to do, Shan. I know what your pops used to do. I know what y'all niggas did in the 80s. We ain't doing that right now. And so the young guys is looking at women with children because, and if they,
I think it's high time we just buckle up and say, what happened in the 70s happened in the 70s. What happened in the 80s happened in the 80s. Ain't no sense no more bringing it up unless you're still a Gen Xer, right? Like I am. My wife, she's a millennial, and then I got 2 Gen Alphas. Oh yeah, 2 Gen Alphas, which they're going to deal with the crooks of this world. She's going to really have to insert herself with the right people. And only Lord knows when I release her, when I finally release my daughter out to the world, hopefully my instructions, my my wits, my know-hows, along with her mother's, and of course with her teachers and her mentors. I hope all that is being still within her brain. I hope she comes out of this successful. We hope. Silica One says it is a lot less politically correct in the 80s, 70s, and the 80s. I agree. But they don't go by that concept anymore because of all the government, the things that happen government wise, the things that the whole baby boomer situation that was just terrible. It's like everybody was quiet. Everybody was quiet. Everybody was dealing with some issues. Gen X came around, and all of a sudden we started thinking shit. Millennial, I don't know what happened in the millennial era. I don't know what happened in the millennial era. I don't know. It just turned dangerous, yo. It just turned mighty dangerous and mighty gay. And now you got the Gen Z era trying to figure some shit out. It's like, what the fuck is going on? But the family structure, the whole wit of it all is gone. It's changed. That's why I say keep a close eye out for your daughters and your sons and other people's children who are close. It's like if they're in your inner circle, if you have a whole community that is in your inner circle, watch for them. I would rather, and this is just me, I would rather have my daughter roommate with her, either her best friend or her cousins. I don't want to be that dad. I don't want to be that dad that waits on them after I get off of work and I sit by their apartment to check on. I don't want to be that father, but if I have to, I will. If I have to, I will. Because this world has changed, Lord. This world has changed so much. And this is the reason, my opinion, this is the reason why we need the Dr. Umar E5 Tundes. And we need the influences of the Khalil Muhammads. There are a lot of women panels who are getting sick and tired of men, and there are a lot of men panels who are getting confused about women. Right? You're getting sick and tired of the men treating you like shit. Men over here is like, yo, these women ain't feminine enough. I want to create a space where we can all get along in totality. But I guess it's too much, like, right?
If they come in, do I have the autonomy to be able to take care of this child? Marcus asked, can the men that could come in, okay, what does the guy get? Can he come in, put all his resources, all his knowledge, bring all his stuff to take care of that child? Does he get the autonomy over that child? Does he get to be able to discipline that child? Does he get recognition and credit from that child? Does the mother, in the event that the child wants to do something that the mother doesn't want him to do, but the father does he get the final say? So it's a whole lot of stuff that guys are saying, damn, the deal, I don't.
Yes, you can, but here's the deal of it. She has to know you. She has to get to know you. And order for you to even consider yourself playing that role. I played the role before. I played the role of stepdad. And it's I want to say it's fun when I did it. It was fun. It was an experience, but it's also a heavy load. Are you willing to take the heavy load that the mother has carried for so long? Are you willing to take in half the load? Along with possibility you already having a son or a daughter. Now, when you're dealing with that woman, when you're by her side, when you are coping with that woman, now it's come a choice of, if you want to be with me, you have to accept what is, and that is accepting my child. I will be happy to accept your child. Can you accept mine? And if you can accept mine as I accepted yours, then hey, let's get it in. But with that, mind you, I understand what he's saying. Mind you, when I put my foot, if I have to, if you want me to be in this, I'm gonna have to be in this all the way. Same for you. If my daughter gets out of hand, I expect for you to discipline my daughter the same way I'm going to discipline your son. And no, I'm not going to put my hands on you the first time around. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to talk to you. That's why I expect for stepdads to do is talk to, you know, a person that's not biologically, you know, your seed. If you're not biologically the child's seed, then you don't get to do half of what you want to do. If anything, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to speak to the child. And when I speak to the child, he or she will hear my voice. Because I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'm going to be strict but fair. And a little comedy relief here. No big deal. But by the time I'm done, not pinning flowers on myself, but they're going to know what a real father is. And that's what it should be.
I don't like this contract. This contract that you're giving me is not that good. It's not the same one that my father had. The one my father had, the one my stepfather had was way better than the one that I'm getting today. The argument as to why that changed, that's a whole different show. But we had it. It's just not here no more. Now, the stepdads aren't being championed like they were. Go ahead, JR.
No, I'm saying I got to switch gears for a second to go to the next video. Then we get to some of the guys that haven't spoken on yet. Black people are the last to get married and the first to divorce.
Bring this to the black on black love. As you know, black people are the last to marry and the first to divorce. And the black woman is the last to get married and the first to get divorced. Right? Now, because we are the most traumatized community, that trauma automatically affects our relationships. You can't talk about healthy black male-female love if you don't talk about black on black community dysfunction.
Right.
Why would the family be functional if no other institution is?
Right.
You see that? Don't divorce the family from everything else we got going in the community, which is dysfunctional. Now, too often, Nick, from a psychological perspective, we go into relationships looking to fulfill needs that our parents never did.
Right.
So the relationship is a means to an end of getting something you never got.
Right.
And the main things we're looking for from our opposite partner, we're looking for intimacy and love. We're looking for availability and presence. We're looking for trust and dependency. And we're looking for reciprocity and the ability to share. Those are four things you needed from your mother, 4 things you needed from your father. If you got both, You can love and you can leave. If you didn't get both, you might be insecure and unstable in certain areas.
That's power. That's more powerful than the 5 love languages.
You see,
you need to coin that and write a book on that.
And on top of that, Brother Nick, what the opposite gender parent did to you or didn't do matters most. See, my father could have been present. My father and I could have been intimate father-son, healthy. My father could have been trustworthy. We could have been able to share and exchange. But what if I couldn't do it with my mom?
Didn't get any of those.
Do you see that?
Right.
I'm going to look for a woman to do for me what my mother could not. You ever been in a relationship with a woman where you felt like you was more than a husband? You had to be the father too. See that? That's where that comes from, Nick. She had an unmet need. Daddy didn't do it. So now I need Nick to do this. And you weighing on me too much because I'm your king. But now you want me to be your dad. I didn't sign up for both roles. And you draining me. I love you, but you draining me. If you don't pull back off this father role, I might got to leave this relationship because in essence, what you have become to me is a spiritual vampire. What is a spiritual vampire, Nick? A spiritual vampire is a psychologically, emotionally unhealthy African floating around the community looking for somebody to heal illnesses and injuries to their soul that only their parents can fix.
Wow.
Emotional vampires think that if I find the right man, if I find the right woman, he can heal me. No, he can't. That damage was done by your family of origin and it got to be repaired there. You ever watch one of those old horror movies, Freddy Krueger, Jason or something, and they want to finally kill Jason and Freddy. And the person comes in and tell them, you got to go back to where they was born. You got to go back to the beginning. The same thing is in relationships.
The origin story.
The same thing is.
Let's go ahead. Black people are the last to get married, the first to divorce. Who haven't spoken yet? I want to get to you guys first.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go in. I'll jump in. It was built for women, with women in mind. When it comes to the scrolling, when it comes to the advertisements, when it comes to selling products and whatnot. Right now, I don't know if everybody realizes this or not, but Black women are the #1 consumers in America right now. Because of there. So we got to find a way to get along, that may not come
change until we change that. And we have to be proactive at it.
They have literally refined this playbook and adopted it to modern times. They have literally refined this playbook and adopted it to modern times and modern advertising. And, you gotta know what it is first, Viz.
We know what it is. Sharing with the younger generation how not to fall victim to that. Literally what I just heard from what I stated is literally excuses. If we're creating the excuses and we're regurgitating the excuses, at what point, if the younger generation has this already up against them, and we're not even giving them an inch of hope of saying, fuck the Willie Lynch letter. We can do this. We can pull out of this. We have to value ourselves. We can pull out of this. The excuse.
And over again until we just eventually decide to conform. It's a different way of subjugation. It's a different.
I'm sorry. What about the Willie Lynch letter? Let's play.
It's a different form of subjugation. It's a different form of control that's even on YouTube. That's even on our laptops and our iPads too.
And I preached on the Willie Lynch letter before. I mean, you go back to my videotapes, dating a couple of months back. I would tell you, this is where we are right now. This is what the soul is being painted on. Willie Lynch, not just the Jim Crow, not just Dred Scott, but the Willie Lynch is so important due to the fact that we still, to this very day, even though it is so it's signed, sealed, and delivered that the very same things that are happening to you are the very same things that are written in that letter. It's the very same thing. Fighting brother against brother, young man against old man against young man, black people, black men versus white, or excuse me, black men versus black women. And that the families will no longer would be intact. And that no one shall create, and I'm paraphrasing, no one shall create the next Messiah. So while everybody's all up in arms trying to figure everything out, we got this thing called YouTube. And what is it doing? It's separating the very thing by getting on, having people get online and pretty much doing what I said that they were going to do, and they were going to create chaos. Mind you, chaos creates revenue. And by the time we're done collecting our money, which by the way, YouTube takes about 35%, with the little money, the little money, I mean, let's face it, unless you're the lead attorney who gets buku money, stop it. Stop it. I don't even want to hear that you're getting YouTube. I don't really care for all that. I mean, I don't even care for the numbers as much. I don't. Stop being hypocrites.
It's today. You know, you just got to know what you're looking at when you're looking at it. And us as grown ass men, you know, that I would like to think that are higher level of thinking may recognize it off bat. But then there's most younger people, which is their target audience, that won't understand what they're looking at. And when they do look at it, they think that's just the way of the world. That's how the world's supposed to be, because that's just being marketed to me.
So fellas, if to directly piggyback off of that, right? If we are supposed to be sharing with the younger generation how not to fall victim to that. Literally what I just heard from what I stated is literally excuses. If we're creating the excuses and we're regurgitating the excuses, at what point, if the younger generation has this already up against them, and we're not even giving them an inch of hope of saying, fuck the Willie Lynch letter, we can do this, we can pull out of this, we have to value ourselves. Once we value ourselves,
that's a bunch of bullshit coming from. Oh, sorry, I got to be logical.
that is the shift. I just don't understand.
I'm so sorry. I can't take it anymore. Look here. The reason why you're saying fuck the Willie Lynch letter is because number one, you haven't really read it. And even if you read it, you didn't understand it. And if you didn't have the understanding, the knowledge of having one tell you about the Willie Lynch letter and what it was about, what it had attained, and what goals it attained, it attained a lot of goals, sir. Where's your letter? Where's your letter that is anti what goes on with the Willie Lynch letter of today? Don't you have an anti-Willie Lynch letter that you need to be whipping up, sir? Sir. It's too late in the game to be bold unless you know, and you have to know And this generation has to know. Otherwise, history repeats itself.
And how, like, we if we want to see a change, we have to imply the change. If
Well,
we
you gotta know what it is first, Viz.
we know what it is.
No,
Bro.
no.
You
How do you know what it is? No, you didn't even read the letter, Viz.
I don't read the letter,
Exactly. That makes you read the letter.
How are you gonna say?
How you gonna say F
fuck the
something
letter?
because
You don't know what's in it.
You guys, listen. Okay.
Why do I have to read the letter for something that I see every day?
Viz is right.
Yeah,
Listen, we know. Okay, but like,
come on, man.
The Willie Lynch letter is fake. Okay, if you guys don't know it, I studied it. I took black studies in college. The letter is fake in and of itself.
No, it's not. It's not that, because I studied the same thing. No, it's not.
Look at the power.
Again, this is the reason why we're so divided. This here is the reason why it is so divisive. Where's my phone? Okay. There we go. This is it right here. This is it. The reason why we're so divided, the reason why we haven't quite figured it out yet, and this reason why this generation is so wildly mild. It's only a matter of time before most of us lose everything. We lose our matter. We lose the matter, not financially. We're not going to even get into the financial part. Emotionally, psychologically, if a man psychologically gets into his bag, all hell will break loose. Simply put, that we can't make a decision over what's real and what isn't. If you say that the Willie Lynch letter, right? If the Willie Lynch letter is not real, then why is it when you read it in totality, you read the whole entire thing, and things are happening in front of your eyes, just like in the letter what it read, then why is it an argument? Why? Why, man? Why is it such an argument? Don't we have to have better understanding of who we are and where we came from? So the guy's fake. It was written in 2001. Really, by whom? What was the man's purpose for writing it in 2001, if that were the case? And I heard it was a black man. What was his purpose of doing so? To separate us even further? What was the purpose? So there wasn't a man in the West Indies that went up to and taught these particular slaves how to control their slaves? Really? So there was no white man, no European in the West Indies that came from the West Indies that taught slave owners how to control their slaves better. Wow. You Negroes like these, not all of them, Negroes like these try so hard, so fucking hard to try to escape from reality of what was. If we don't deal with what is and the what was, our generations are lost. Generation Alpha is, I'm not even worried about Generation Alpha. I'm not worried about Generation Z. And while everybody else is all confused, because that's what the white man does, they absolutely know how to confuse you, the white man is just setting up. The average Chinese, the China man is setting up. and we go into this chaos mode, and all of a sudden we don't know what to do. We don't know where to go, and we elect Trump to be in office again. And you look to Trump. Don't fucking lie. You're gonna look to Trump to bail you out again. Even though he wants to commit civil war on America, if he gets into office, because of all the things that are being doing what they're doing to him right now, and that is setting him up, because they all know that he doesn't play the game. He doesn't play the game how America wants him to play it. He plays it by his own rules, which certain black people like. But let's remind ourselves, he's still a white supremacist. But you're gonna vote for him anyway. I didn't vote for him. Then you go add the Kanye Wests and everybody else coming around, and never mind. I can't convince y'all, so let's go.
I can go to the document. I know which one you're talking about. The construct for buck breaking slaves, which they use the term Willie Lynch. They have a different text for it. Nah, from the West Indian slave owners, I will find it and send it to you.
Okay, find it and send it to me, because the Willie Lynch letter, as we know it, it was never discovered. It was never found. It just appeared on the internet around 2001. Nobody, the Willie Lynch letter wasn't even a letter that anybody talked about in the 90s or the 80s.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
The letter has words that's in it. If I recall, I think the word indoctrination, that word wasn't even used for another 100 years, because the Willie Lynch letter was written in this quote, was supposed to have been written in the 1700s. We didn't even use words like indoctrination until the 1800s. And I think another word was program, and that's maybe two other words in there. But find what you're gonna look for, because remember Dr. Karanga, the inventor of Kwanzaa, he's my teacher, he's right around the corner. He'll tell you, and he taught me in 1999. I graduated in 2000, but he taught me that the Willie Lynch letter's fake. I looked it up and did research on it and found it was fake. But that's not the point. See, the reality is
the principles.
Thank you.
Whether it's fake
principles or real, you got to understand what it's talking about. The lights versus the darks, the house nigga versus the field nigga, and all that kind of stuff. That's what's written in the, and it's basically the letter is a divide and conquer letter, Viz. That's what it is. And so what Kenny's trying to say is we got to understand what the letter is trying to explain, whether it's fake or real. We got to understand what it's trying to explain, and before we can talk about saying fuck that letter and fix things. But here's the thing, back to where I'm with Viz, is we do know what the issue is. And this whole discussion that we're talking about right now is how do we get, because I think Darwin that said, okay, we know what the fucking problem is. We beat this horse, and we've had thousands of panel discussions every week, every night on what the issue is. Where's the fucking solution? If fatherlessness, because this is from the podcast with Umar and Nick Cannon, if fatherlessness is where the root of the issue is, then what do we got to do to get fathers back in the home? So divide and conquer, that could be part of it. The light skin, you got niggas over there laughing at light skin niggas. Oh, the light skin dudes is winning, or the dark skin dudes is winning. The tall guys is winning, and they getting all the girls, and the short guys ain't getting nothing. That's the whole Willie Lynch thing. But here's the thing. To get men back in the families and back in the homes, it needs to be incentivized for him to be there. That's my solution. My Shannon solution is, what is it going to be a comfortable place for a man to be? Is it whether it's with a woman and he's creating his own child, or whether it's
a comfortable place for a man to be. Would anyone like to know where my comfortable place is? I'll show you. This is my comfortable place. Let's go back to the comfortable place that I was in. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. I'm comfortable right here.
Chance taught me really how to cuss. Okay, he
Oh,
taught
you
me.
gonna put that on me?
He taught me. He taught me. Back in the day, couldn't nobody out cuss that.
This is my comfortable place with 4 individuals, 2 married couples, actually know what they're talking about. They know what they. Oh, really? This is my comfortable place right here.
You won't go win the argument. You taught me well.
You came up under Chance's tutelage?
Listen, he taught me well, and then I mastered it. I was an athlete in cuss.
You
want to fight?
Yeah.
Okay. Ain't no killer, but don't push it.
Yeah. Period.
But yeah.
One thing I want to talk about, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. It's talking about transitions. Y'all daughter is just turned 21, right? And she is legally an adult in every way, shape, or form. She could vote, marry, join the army, all that stuff. Rent a car from Enterprise. I think it's 25
I
everywhere.
thought it was 25. I'm with you.
Yeah, 20 Enterprise. They're gonna charge you though. They're gonna let you get it.
Mhm.
So our children. Just yesterday, actually, Isaiah's friend came over to shoot a video, and Melissa was like, "What time did Dad drop him off?" And Dad was like, "Dropping him off? He got a car." His friend drove up and parked the car. I was like, "Oh, your friend he's 16, driving, early 16." And I felt away. I was like, "Hold up," because I know when my friends got cars, we wasn't going to Bible stuff. They wouldn't carry me down my first big sins. When my first friend had a car, I could do some sin. I'm sorry, Mom. You thought I was at.
Now I could do some sin.
I could do some sin. So, what is it like having a kid who is, more and more less reliant and dependent on you? 4 or 5 years ago, she was in high school. Y'all need to do everything. Now she is 1 foot out the door of the home. Like, talk to us about that, because we're about to run up on that here 2-3 years.
You sure you want to know?
Whew. First of all, them high school years be hard.
Is that right?
Oh Lord Jesus, we so grateful that we made it through.
Right.
With the social stuff, Choice was a late bloomer.
Okay.
She didn't have a lot of friends. She didn't get her license until she was 18. She didn't want them. We was like, "Girl, you 16?" She was like,
Right.
Right. She's very laid back. But then we used to be like, "You go, why don't you go? You ain't got no party to go to. Where your friends at?" She's like, "I don't have any." She would be in a room a lot, and we'd be like, "Man," but let me tell you something. Something happened about a year or 2 years ago. We barely see her.
Oh, she be living her life.
That girl. At first, earlier this year, she was like, "I'm gonna go and get my own place. I'm gonna buy a condo." And I was like, "Cause she works and she makes good money."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay." I had a whole meltdown. I was like, "Oh, what?" I said, we had talked about this. You don't have to live till you really.
Reality. This is reality to me. This perfect setting with these perfect, well, not anyone's perfect, but God. These 2 people who share their life story with other married couples, other married strangers, is so refreshing. Call me old-fashioned. I am old, but this is what is appealing to me, not this other dynamic for people who are single and very emotional type of men and women, of course. Women are allowed to be emotional. Men are allowed to be emotional for an instant. Right? So, with that being said, I think this video should be studied. I think videos like these should be studied and talked about, but won't particularly happen because why? We are so used to what we are used to. We are used to chaos. So it doesn't matter who's following who, how many is in the chat, how many is on the panel. Whenever you get a chance to review this. I dare you to review it. Of course, you're going to have a couple of knuckleheads here and there questioning everything. Just questioning everything. That's okay. That's quite all right. Getting a dose of their own freaking medicine. Let's see here. Let me go back. How's everybody doing tonight? Like I said, this is an open mic night. Any and everybody's invited. While we relax, while we play a Tupac video clip.
And I feel like if you walk by a street and you was walking on concrete and you saw a rose growing out of concrete, it had messed up petals and it was a little, to the side, you would marvel at just seeing a rose grow through concrete. So why is it that when you see some ghetto kid grow out of all of the dirtiest circumstances and he can talk and he can sit across from you, make you smile, make you cry, make you laugh, all you can talk about is my dirty rose, my dirty stems, and how I'm leaning crooked to the side. You can't even see that I came up out of that. And I feel like if you walk by a street and you was walking on concrete and you saw a rose growing out of concrete, even if it had messed up petals and it was a little, to the side, you would marvel at just seeing a rose grow through concrete. So why is it that when you see some ghetto kid grow out of all of the dirtiest circumstances and he can talk and he can sit across from you, make you smile, make you cry, make you laugh, all you can talk about is my dirty rose, my dirty stems, and how I'm leaning crooked to the side. You can't even see that I came up out of that.
Shouts out. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let me go here. Shouts out to Tupac Shakur. One of the greatest lyricists of all time. Let's see. I think this is. Let's finish this up.
Yes, sir.
A man with multiple women.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told by many different things, and it circles back to my narcissism.
Yes, sir.
That one, and then we don't have to deal with this, just the ideas of monogamy, but then the idea of how do you explain, especially successful men, not just subscribing to the idea of monogamy, or just not, even if they do, there's still one woman isn't enough.
Let me go here. I'm going to go pro monogamy and I'm going to go pro polygyny.
Okay. Polygyny, not polygamy.
Right.
Polygyny.
Well, polygamy is plural marriage.
Yeah, man.
Polygyny is a man with more than one wife.
Right.
And polyandry is a woman with more than one husband.
And then polyamory is just the idea.
Everybody got multiple. That's just a freak off. Because I don't really understand. I don't understand why anybody wants to be in a polyamorous relationship.
That's everybody.
That's an orgy. Just call it polyorgy.
Right.
I don't see no benefit to that. That's just crazy.
They just turn it up.
8 people living in the
Diddy
house.
party.
Yes. Who came up with that? Because that ain't African. But here's where I'm gonna go. Here's where I'm gonna go next.
He wrote that one down.
I don't see what. That's crazy. Now, I'm going to look at polygyny from an African-centered perspective. And from a matriarchal lineage. Because from a matriarchal perspective in African culture, Brother Nick, it was the women who created polygyny. It was the women who said the men are going to have more than one wife. And do you know why they did that? Because they came from a principle of Ubuntu. I am because we are.
Yeah.
I'm not winning unless my sister winning. Yeah. And since men die sooner than women on average, and of course they die because of war and other unnatural factors, we normally outlive by women.
Right.
We got to make sure the community is stable. And if we got enough men to go around, the community won't be stable.
And it's also that idea of tribalism, right? Where the man, if there's a successful man in the tribe, he wants to be able to take care of as many of the people in his
Right.
tribe as possible.
But from the matriarchal, it was the women who came to the men and said, you're going to take on more.
Be your wife.
Right, but you're going to take on more than me.
Yeah.
You're going to, not because I want to share my man.
She needs you, and she needs you
because the community needs it. Polygyny is not about personal preference.
Right.
It's about making sure all the children got a dad and all the women got a husband, because you know, like I know, because Black America suffers from a shortage of males. Cemetery, penitentiary, right? So what do women do when they can't find a man of their own? I don't care how Christian they are, how Muslim they are, how Hebrew they are, they will share a married man. And one of the contradictions that Black women have to deal with, who claim that they are not for polygyny, if you are not for polygyny, why is it we can often find single Black women being the mistress to a married Black man? If you are against plural marriage, how did you manage to end up as his mistress and he's married? So do you know what you're telling me? You're not against polygyny. You're against being accountable for it. You don't want nobody to know you are a co-wife. You see that? As long as it stays under the cover.
Dr. Umar.
but we got to deal with these issues. And as far as monogamy goes, and I'm going to do more research on this, Brother Nick, but my research has shown me there has never been a monogamous society on the face of this earth, only on paper. Don't get me wrong. You've always had men with one wife, but you have always had men with more than one wife.
So this is what I would say in that sense, and in my understanding.
Yes.
I don't subscribe.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how one man can want more than one wife. Although it's just about, to me, it's just about sex, if anything, because I live in the Western civilization world. And if you're living in a Western civilization, then it's just one man. It's assumably one man, one woman, right? If that's so, then we need to remind these men in these small spaces that it's just that, right? And if they want to live in the Eastern civilization, if they want to live in that world, where if you're in Africa somewhere, if you're in Europe somewhere, in places where they will allow it, if it's allowed, then yeah, you can do that. But know what comes with that. Over here, it don't fly. Here in the United States, you're trying to turn something that is not. You're trying to turn something that it isn't, because even though you have governors, you have senators, and you have presidents who act accordingly, I'll just say that for the safe zone. Yeah. Don't even try it, fellas. Don't even try it. You end up hurting yourself. You're already too emotional as it is. You don't know how to take care of a woman. You're always leaving garbage behind for us to collect and, clean up and filter. I mean, come on now. It's time to talk about accountability. Jesus.
Monogamy, and because I failed at it, attempting to do it so many times, but I have seen
I don't believe it's natural for alpha males, period.
I have seen it done successfully.
So have I, and I've seen it done pathologically.
Yeah, up under the guise of spirituality and putting God first. And having some discipline to where my reverence for God, as they say, is supposed to be, the Father, Son, and the church. So it's in that sense of God, Jesus, and the church.
The Trinity.
Therefore, that same hierarchy represents the patriarch and the matriarch together. And
yes, sir.
That's why they. And it's he who finds a wife finds a good thing and should be exalted.
I agree.
Marriage should be exalted in that sense, but you can't do it without a strong infrastructure of God and therefore some spiritual practice. That's the only time I've seen it done.
I agree with you.
So
I agree with you. And me having been raised Muslim,
right,
I've seen it done successfully,
right,
and I've also seen it done dysfunctionally.
Right. Right.
So I understand the black woman's concerns,
right,
because number one, we have sexually objectified the black woman too much to really honor her in a polygynous arrangement. I understand, my sisters. Number two, black men are so sexually, a lot of us, not all, are so sexually irresponsible. We have a lower chakra ADHD problem.
Yes.
You understand?
Guilty.
Where I can see us exploiting the opportunity for multiple marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
And then another big issue that sisters bring up against polygamy, and I understand, Dr. Umar. Polygyny. Dr. Umar, you say that we all come to relationships with our previous family trauma. We do. So you want me, with my trauma, to marry this man with his trauma, and then he gonna bring two other women with their trauma. Is that not just a traumatized household?
Yeah.
It can very well be if y'all haven't done the work of self.
And if there's no order.
And there's no order. And most of us don't do the work of self, Nick. You wanna know why? Because working on yourself is the hardest war you can ever fight.
Right.
To conquer your internal issues is a war we are more scared of than fighting white supremacy.
Right.
Most people go into relationships to distract from the need for self-care.
And that is correct.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Which is why I tell people, are you happy? Because if you're not happy, you have no business getting married. Because if you think you're going to marry Nick Cannon and he's going to make you happy being Nick Cannon, you're wrong. You know why? Because happiness is an emotion. And every emotion comes from inside you. Nobody makes you happy, not Denzel.
Why you gotta talk about? Why don't you ever disagree with Dr. Umar? Why do you ever with that? You dick rider for Dr. Umar? Shut up. This is the reason why we have problems in the first place. This is the reason why we can't even get nowhere in life, because of scrub head niggas like yous. Just learn to shut the fuck up now with it every once in a great while. And let a person of your peers speak. Not even a person of your peers. It could be your brother. I'm gonna use that for example. It could be your brother. Your brother may have more knowledge than you. A little bit more knowledge than you because he's been around the block. But we don't want to get to that block. We don't want to get to a certain part of get to it in a certain part of our lives because we've seen it. They've seen it in past tense, or they've seen it somewhere in the movie somewhere, where a woman is in charge of everything. I was like, how did they become in charge of everything? Well, guess what? Things just happen. But in order for us to come together as one, again, I will say it and I will say it again. You need to stop being so damn emotional. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy for me, and it definitely is unhealthy for you, and it's definitely unhealthy for those damn kids. You know why it's unhealthy for those kids? Because they have to listen to y'all. And when they had to listen to y'all, they had nowhere else to go. They're psychologically screwed. Thanks to you.
Nobody. You understand me?
Not Drake.
Nobody.
No.
If you were miserable before you got married, you're going to be miserable during the marriage. Because guess what? Marriage doesn't make problems go away. They explode them.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Facts.
So you got, man, I'm going to marry her so she stopped thinking I'm cheating. She's not going to stop thinking you cheating.
Make it worse.
Just going to make it worse.
Tighten it up.
It's going to make it worse.
Yeah.
You see, and then the other issue too, Nick, is when we date, we're not transparent with each other. Both people are selling each other an idea.
A representation.
Absolutely. Dating is the only time you go shopping when you don't know the ingredients to the product. When you go buy a new car, you know what it got: AC, heat. You go to the restaurant, this is what we cook our green. But when you start dating, you don't get no list that say this woman been raped, molested, her father left her. She's a foster kid, but she don't want to tell you that because she think that's going to turn you off if she didn't grow. You see that?
This man's a narcissist.
And that's when you start finding out what's really wrong with him. Once you get deep enough and in love enough, and then the true person surfaces. This is why you can date somebody. You ever see people date for 10 years? They was good. Got married and divorced the first year. How y'all was together for 20 years? You know why? Because your ego that projects that false sense of who you are to the person, it stops lying under 3 conditions. The mask gets turned off, tore off under 3 conditions. Guess what they is? A woman gets pregnant, y'all move in together, or y'all get married. Those are the 3 conditions that forces the ego to reveal who you really are. This is why I tell people you should never marry somebody if you didn't live with them for at least 3 months. There's no way I'm marrying a woman. There's no way I would let my daughters marry a man who you didn't cohabitate with for at least 3 months. Because guess what, Nick? When you were just picking her up and dating for 10 years, that's easy. But when you go and sleep in her house, you sleep in her house. You didn't know she had a secret cell phone. You didn't know her ex-husband knocks on the door all times of the night. You didn't know she don't like to clean up the damn house. You didn't know she don't wash her hands before she. You see what I'm saying? You start seeing. You didn't know her mother come over here and post up on the couch all night with her funky toe. Do you see? It's not until you live with somebody that you really know who they are. Now, I do tell women this, Nick, because we can abuse that. We'll live with a woman for 20 years and say, I still ain't made up my mind yet. Y'all damn near to the cemetery. What you mean you ain't made up your mind? So I tell sisters 2 years. If you've been living with a man consistently under the same roof for 2 years, he knows if he's going to marry you. It's up to you whether you're going to be the fool to hang around after 2 years. Because as you know, being a man, after a year, you got a pretty good idea whether this could be a wife, if she could be a wife. After the second year, you pretty much know. So if a man's still telling you, I don't know if you're the one after 3, 4, 5 years, he wants his cake and eat it too.
Is Dr. Umar married?
I'm not, but I will be. I plan on having 2 queens, but I got to take my time. And the reason I got to take my time is being around successful men like you has turned me into a celebrity. And people forget I'm really a revolutionary. I'm not a celebrity.
So you're dealing with that whole different type of problem now.
Listen,
they own you.
They don't understand.
But they treat them as such. I think with Dr. Umar, if I were to ever have him over here once more, if I ever get the chance to, I'm gonna ask him, what's it like being a celebrity? Which he's not. He is for community. I think he's for family too. But you don't have to be married in order to have a family. I mean, anybody can get anybody pregnant, but can you take care of that child? Right?
I'm a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. I'm an activist, a Pan-Africanist, a psychologist. I'm not a celebrity. So the problem with that, as you know, because that's your life,
it comes with a lot.
You don't know
who to trust.
You don't know who to trust.
It's a plethora of junk food in front of you, and you looking for the substance.
Where's the protein at? You know what I mean? So, but I have to, because as you know, I'm working on a school.
Absolutely.
Them boys need to see me with a woman. There ain't no 2 ways around it. I can't rush though. You know, but based on my spiritual tradition, I practice Ifa out of the Yoruba culture of Nigeria. And my Babalawo priest has told me through divination that my woman will show up once the school is ready. So he told me you are not to look for her now because you will run her away because you ain't got the time for her. Absolutely. Focus on FDMG. And then,
I mean, and we'll wrap that because I want to talk about that as well because I'm a full supporter.
Yes, sir.
And you've caught a lot of flack.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Your Frederick Douglass Academy.
Yes, sir.
And, specifically, I want to talk about this too. I mean, but I've even seen people like DJ Vlad, who we both been on his platform before. God bless him.
Never again.
We live and we learn.
We live and we learn.
Same thing. I never put on a dress again. That you're coming from a place of goodness. You're coming from a place
all love
of productivity.
For your people.
You're coming from you're really putting forth in the school. Tell us all about the school and then talk directly to those people who said,
this is where we get into the crooks and the crooks and the crux of everything. Listen close.
that it is a scam. That
Yes,
you
sir.
are, they're just donating. You've been raising money for 20-something years.
Oh my
and,
God!
this stuff
Can we please stop changing the years? that was, I heard 20.
there are plenty of this is the good part. I get plenty of people in my comment section talking about, is he changing the date yet? I was like, I'm to the point where I'm just gonna say, yeah. I might say yes, I might say no to some things. Because it's the same shit. It's the same dumb ass borderline shit that people ask me all the time. Is he gonna come up with the school? Did he move the date yet? Did he find him a snow bunny? Did he do this? Did he eat ice cream in front of the school? Did he paint the school? What did he do to the school? What happened to the funds, the monies, the everything? Like, the HVAC. HVAC's already there. It looks all messed up inside. They just got done painting. Yeah, well, what about the front? They're just putting the tile, the carpet, not the carpet. They tore up what was there, and they're getting ready to put down some new stuff for the floors. Wow. It disgusts me, but I get used to it. Because the moment he opens up that school,
I've heard exactly.
I think Vlad said 14. 14 years ago, I was working on my pre-doctoral internship. What are you talking about? I didn't even know me 14 years. So anyhow, the timeline, quick timeline.
Yeah.
2014.
Yes.
A friend of mine called me, said, Dr. Umar, the historic black college, St. Paul's in North Carolina, Southern Virginia is for sale.
Right.
They wanted $2 million, a whole campus, Nick, for $2 million.
Right.
I said, we got to do this.
Yeah.
So we start raising money. We didn't get it.
Right.
So it was sold to an Asian company. They own it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping one day they resell it because I still want it.
Right.
It was founded by Father Russell, who's a close friend of Booker T. Dr. George Washington Carver used to visit.
Wow.
You feel me?
Yeah.
We let an HBCU get sold away from the people.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I said, this is 14.
$2 million. That's
2014.
Crazy. Yeah.
So this April will be 10 years from when we started the fundraiser.
Yeah.
10 years in April, not 14, 20, 30, right?
Yeah.
So anyhow, Nick, once that got sold, we said, we just going to find us a regular school building.
Yeah.
I thought we was going to be in Detroit because Detroit has so many schools that we could afford.
Yeah.
But guess what? Once the Archdiocese found out who I was, they refused to sell. They shut me. There was a Catholic school in Philly. They shut me. Catholic school in Trenton, New Jersey. They shut me.
Now it ain't even about the money.
It ain't about the money. You got to find somebody to sell your property.
Yeah.
So then in 2017, I'm on LoopNet because that's where I got most of my school sources. And I see the school in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm like, Delaware, that's only 30 minutes down the road from Philly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to the Nat Turner celebration 2017. You remember when we had the Great North American Eclipse?
Yeah.
That was when. So I stopped at the school on August the 20th. And of course, my birthday is August 21st, which is the same day as the Nat Turner Award.
Yeah.
So I stopped at the school. I look at it, it's modern. Like this school ain't old at all.
Yeah.
So when I come back from Nat Turner land, I have to go to Cuba to get my E5 initiation. My great grandfather was from Cuba. So I did my initiation there. So when I came back, I finally looked into the school. I said, this is it. They wanted $2 million.
Right.
So this is summer 2017.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it.
Right.
I said, we ain't got $2 million. If that's the case, I would have had St. Paul.
Yeah.
So don't you know, from the August of 17 until February of 19, when we bought it,
right,
I was in negotiations with the owners. Like, let's sell it to me. That's all we got. Sell it. And then one day I emailed him and checked on him again. He said, give me what you got, take it. Wow. I said, oh shit. I'm like, did he really just? Yeah. I ran down there. We did the closing on February 7th, 2019. That's when we bought the school. So for the past 5 years, we've been trying to renovate.
Right.
You know what the problem is? Unscrupulous black contractors.
It doesn't particularly matter what he says. I mean, people are not going to actually quiesce to what he's saying. They're just not. They don't care about what he does outside or inside of it. They just want to. Why? You're not invited. I have a more better chance of, you know what? I have a more better chance of going to his school and being invited VIP style. V.I. motherfucking P style, right? Than having any of you who are in and floating in my inboxes. It's like his baby mama this, his baby mama's that. And I get oh, here's the perfect one. I used to follow Dr. Umar, but I don't like his messages and what he does to women. As a matter of fact, let's just skip this one shot. I'll let this ride. I gotta find it. I gotta find the extra video.
Contractors screwing us over, not doing the work. Money wasn't so much of the issue. We still need more because we got to renovate the high school. But for the Garvey building, we was good on the money. Couldn't find the damn work. So then last year, I made a decision. We're going to go with the white contractors. I can't wait on black people no more. Nick will never get this done. I brought the white folks and they did it in 1 year.
Wow.
So where are we right now?
Currently.
The update right now, all the major renovations are done. Electric done, plumbing done, HVAC done, sprinkler system done, all is done. Now we have 2 inspections we got to pass to get our building occupancy, certificate of occupancy. We got to do an L&I inspection and fire department inspection. We ready for the fire department, but L&I, the building got to be moving ready. So we're waiting on our fire water company to make a couple small repairs so we can put the drop ceiling back. Once we put the drop ceiling back, we're going to paint. Once we paint, we're going to do the floors because we took the old rugs out. Once we do the floors, we ready for the inspection. So we bouncing around the timeline. So I'm expecting a community grand opening this summer. Community. And then we'll have a year to get ready for the children next year. We're going to start 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, and then we're going to go up a grade and down a grade every year. So the 2nd year will be 1st through 5th, 3rd year will be K through 6th, 4th year will be PK through 7, and 5th year will be daycare through 8th, which gives us 5 years to get the high school ready. You feel me? Now, as far as me scamming, the IRS just did a full audit on me because of these YouTube being, if I could say, coons. Okay? The IRS audited us last year. We passed it. So if I was scamming, you think the FBI gonna let Dr. Umar get away with a scam? You really? I'm sure they on my phone, my email, my internet. They know my flight schedule. Come on, man. We passed the IRS audit with flying colors.
There it is.
Nothing but lies.
Y'all heard it. It's official. School's opening soon.
As my homie D the Real would put it, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Right. Yo, guys, it's been fun. It's absolutely been fun for me. Oops. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. It's been absolutely fun for me. You guys came over and made this stream great. I'm shocked in the poll to see some of my old YouTuber supporters come through and then show some love for your boy. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed. You know, not hoping for any more or any less. But I'm gonna take a break, take a hiatus, taking a hiatus. You know, probably smoke some weed or something like that. But you know, try to take a couple beers because my kids are gonna be gone. They're going to see their grandmother and grandfather. They're going to see the rest of their family while it's just going to be me and mine. So I just need just a little week or so just to gather my mind, gather my thoughts, and hopefully get this weight down. Gotta start knocking some people out. You know, I need the speed, you know. Ain't that right? So, you know, you son of a bitch. But anyway, hey, it's been a blast. It's been fun. Hit like, share, subscribe to the video. Like, share, and subscribe and become a member of the We-On-Loc Nation University. I love y'all. This has been fun. This has been a blast. But I must I'm gonna go grab a bite to eat, look at a movie, relax, because it's Memorial Day weekend. Shouts out to the soldiers. Shouts out to my little cousins and them who just came back from where they came back from the Army, for the Marines. Some people are going into the Air Force. I want to give a shout out to them. No shade here. I wish not for a black man into the military, because the military is not meant for a black man. But in as a last resort, what do you need? What can you do? Yeah, this government's funny like that. But I wish my peoples who have served the military, I salute to you. My retired veterans, I salute you as well. Yeah, be safe, be very safe with where you go, what you do, and I'll get back to you at a later date. All right, peace.